What's a job or profession you absolutely wouldn't do? Working in a call center is one of the most soul-destroying jobs imaginable. As a call center employee, I couldn't agree more. Trying to GTFO into a role that wouldn't be a total downgrade in pay and benefits. You have to have a certain mentality to handle it. Been on the phones for 18 years now. Overall, I enjoy it. I don't know what that says about me, though. Depends on the program you're on too. When I did software sales, I absolutely loved it, as there was no script, no pressure to push products the customer didn't need, and I didn't have to lie. Absolutely loved it. After that program shut down, got shunted over to one where we lied all the time, had to read a script verbatim, and we had to try and sell unneeded services to cardholders all the time. Ducking hated it. Absolutely. Tech support? No problem. Retention? GTFO. Also helps when your management supports you, and focuses more on the end result than the raw stats. Carer for elderly people with dementia, edit him, thanks everyone. Speaking as someone who trained as a PSW to specifically care for patients with dementia after caring for my 2 grandparents who had it, agreed. I am no longer becoming that because the compassion fatigue made it impossible to live. I did the same. It truly eats your soul. I love the work, but after years it just became too much. I think fondly back on all my clients, however, then images of their shitty families ruin my fond memories. Thank you for all you did while you could. I really feel for the people who care for my grandma in the geriatric ward. She can be a handful. They actually had to take her cane away and give her a walker because she kept thwacking nurses, so thank you everyone who does this impossible job. I will never work a call center again. I did it for 2 weeks and quit. You essentially cold call people, and they hate it. 90% of the time no one ever answers, 9% of people that do just yell obscenities at you, and the 1% that actually talks with you will hang up after finding out you're selling shit. Edit, oops, edited the wrong comment. It's just being paid to harass people. Hopefully the whole thing will die out as people answer calls from unknown numbers less and less. My phone automatically ignores numbers not in my contacts. Edit. I very rarely order food, and when I do I have a porch they can leave it on. My house number is clearly visible. No worries on delivery. If it's family or friends that are in trouble, they either leave a voicemail or send a text. It's really not that big of a deal. Your phone is a saint. It's a setting. I'm sure your phone has it as well. Child welfare worker. My father did that as his 3rd and final career and counted the days until he was eligible for retirement. He just couldn't stand it. He was providing a needed service for the community, but got no love from any of the other players. Kids hated him because he was removing them from their abusive parents. Parents hated him because he was taking their kids, however justified. Lawyers were endlessly attacking him, and judges liked to crap on the social worker. It's not as if the pay was any good either. That is a job I would never do. Underpaid, underappreciated, overworked, and overeducated. 4-year degree for $35K a year. Reddit mod. Imagine doing that shit for free. Lamau. Miner. Oh, yeah, that's a crap job, mate. Got out of that life when I turned 18. Miner versus miner? At least if you get caught with a miner you can say they told you they were a miner. This might not quite answer the question because it's a job that I've held previously, but I won't ever work in food service again under any circumstances. I wasted so much of my life grinding it out in restaurants. These last 2 years with the pandemic were the breaking point for a lot of food service workers, including myself. I just left too after killing myself for 10 years. It's an industry that preys on your passion until it destroys it. It's brainwashed everyone into believing that sacrificing everything for a minimum wage career is worth it because you love cooking, baking. I'm done and have left with nothing but resentment. Wow, this is so spot on. I brewed beer for 10 years, but it was the same. Brewing can be so stressful, heavy labor, long hours, knowing one wrong move can send $250,000 down the drain, literally, and you basically get paid in street cred. There's some good breweries out there, but most take advantage of your loyalty to the other guys in the trenches with you and your passion. By the end I felt like the owners were pimps just keeping me hooked with free beer and exhausting me to the point where I couldn't possibly have the energy to find a new job. Clearly am resentful too. Smile. Edit. I see below you work at a brewery now. Haha. I will say the taproom bartenders always had it pretty good. Pouring beers was low stress, customers generally just loved coming in and being a part of everything, and tips were pretty damn good for not dealing with food mixed drinks. Dude, absolutely. I also just ended a 7-year career in brewing, was fired for documenting seriously bad mold conditions in our walk-in cooler, like the entire ceiling was rotting with mold, you could feel it in your lungs. It's absolutely low pay for passion. And it is a cool industry at times to be in, but you often lose your creative input to boss man who just wants to sell trendy beers you have zero interest in brewing. You're required to be a microbiologist, maintenance tech, janitor, and at times a brewer. Only mega breweries pay anything decent, and even still the industry as a whole is pretty shitty pay-wise. I'm never going back after 3 craft breweries of varying problems. My lower back is already kinda ducked and the passion totally died for me and didn't challenge me mentally at all anymore. I'll stick to home brewing. Work with otters in the zoo. Their poop smells atrocious. Suspiciously specific. The list went: dealing with death, call center, dealing with dementia, death, otter poop. I wouldn't do anything that if I screw up someone's life is screwed or dies. No law enforcement, medical whatever, driving, etc. I'm a developer and I make dozens of mistakes a day. Edit: now that a lot of people are reading this, please remember to drink water. Boss, I need you to develop a self-driving car. Oh foo. Anything with patient care. I get too freaked out by vomit. I wouldn't be able to handle it. You get used to vomit. Ghee bleed smell is way worse. Or C. Diff. And even then you become so desensitized that you can go from a code brown in a patient room back to eating your lunch 10 seconds after you wash your hands. Crime scene cleaners. The job entails cleaning up blood, bodily fluids and other potentially infectious materials. Prison guard. Crap pay and have to constantly look over your shoulder. Plus you're also in prison. Debt collection, or really any kind of predatory call center job. I had a relatively long stay in collections, and actually won an award for having a high collection resolution percentage. Since I was a supervisor, what was actually happening is I was settling the outstanding debts for like pennies lol. I justified it at first, saying it was actually saving us time and money to settle, but once I started clearing $2,000 debts for like $50, my superiors started to get angry lol. I did that all the way up until I quit. It wasn't much, but I hope I was able to relieve the weight off some of those people's shoulders. The guy who scrapes up dead animals off the street. I've worked adjacent to those dudes at the highway department before. It actually doesn't suck as much as you think it would. Their day is straightforward and generally peaceful. They don't have to deal with homeowners, customers, or anybody hassling them about how long the job takes. They also get to go to new places every day and they're typically out in nature. I'm sure the mangled animal bodies are disturbing at first and to some people more than others, but you're there to make the situation better. I can imagine worse things too. The stink probably isn't as bad too because it's all outside. Cleaning septic tanks. I don't know who does it, but Jesus duck. I salute those brave men for being able to do that kind of shit. This is what my dad does and he doesn't mind it much. Hess not easily grossed out and Hess great at the customer interaction aspect of the job. People love him. So he gets a lot of return customers that give him gifts or big tips and whatnot. He does come home smelling every day, and heads straight to the shower for like an hour. I should also mention that he never graduated high school and his job prospects are limited. All in all, he would say that it pays the bills and has pretty happy. Dad left a job that paid 6 figures to do this. He may not make the money, but it's good to have my dad back. His old job drained him dry and left him a husk of who he was. That's not hyperbole. Dad used to be a strict man. Very inflexible in his views and constantly pressured me to do something that made money because I couldn't eat dreams. It kinda ducked me up a lot down the line. Now he has a shitty job, pun intended, and I don't think he's ever been happier in his adult life. He works with 2 of his high school best friends and is close to our family home. I may not want to suck shit through a hose, but that job saved my dad from being a miserable old man and let him live again.